Yes, it is another episode of Ears Up in Depth. My name is Jason, and with me is the quiet Jeremy, who is now allowed to officially speak. Hello, Jeremy.
Yay. Another year. This is it. We're wrapping up our second year of In Depth.
This is episode 34. No, 33.
We only managed to get 33 episodes out of two. Oh, well, we started halfway through 1 year.
Yeah.
That's why.
So, my apologies. I titled the live stream of this episode number 34. It is not 34. It is 33.
Oh, that means you're going to have to pull in Illuminations. And you're going to have to name the next one 34B.
Oh, I could do that. I'll do that.
Yeah. All like when Illuminations when they didn't like the 25th anniversary one and everyone got mad at it and they had to go back to classical music, they called it Illuminations 25B.
That's someone's like administrative humor not making it through any sort of sieve. And was just like, well, that landed. All right, there we go.
I mean, I don't think that when you went there, they were like, join us tonight for Illuminations 25B.
You don't think so?
I think it's just like
the Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think it was just what it was called, the working title. But still, I love it.
Well, we do have a good show for you. There is, I don't know, I always say there's a lot of good news, but there's not really a whole lot of news. But I think today there's a lot of news. We had some announcements from the Disney company and some stuff I had to comb through my own feed that I keep seeing forever and ever and ever. And I got tired of it, so finally I looked into it. But we have some pretty in-depth stories today. And Jerry, you want me to go first now. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. Well, let's talk about Florida. Okay.
I love talking about Florida.
I got some news coming out of Florida. With the scant amount of Disney news that's been trickling out as of late, it's no wonder I've been seeing a ton about this new sprawling mixed-use space that's being developed near Disney World. Finally, after an exhausting every other avenue to try and score some juicy stories, I decided to cave in and actually learn about what the hell is happening out in the swamps of Orlando. And believe me, it's weird. No, it's not that weird. Flamingo Crossings is an ambitious project for the Walt Disney Company, especially since their other forays into community building haven't fared so much. Here's looking at you, EPCOT and Celebration. Positioned at the western entrance to Walt Disney World, the parcel of land known as Horizon West is a large chunk of former orange groves, nicely positioned adjacent to Disney World.
Disney loves building orange groves into things.
They really do.
If they find an orange grove, you better believe they're going to turn it into something.
Yeah, well, and so I was reading a little bit about Horizon West, which is when I say a large chunk, I don't even know the acreage. It is a massive amount of land that formerly orange grove, but the big frost that hit in like 89, I think, made that area unsuitable somehow for the orange groves. So a lot of the farmers are like, well, now what do we do?
Let's sell and get out of here.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's retire. Developers wanted to create a space that incorporated both retail and living spaces, each connected by outdoor spaces, trails, and the landscape that encapsulated sort of this entire area, this community. The community would be in the thousands of acres, a giant sprawling thing. At the heart would be Hamlin, an 850-acre development named after the oranges that used to grow there. I guess they were really tart, little Hamlin oranges.
I thought they were named after Harry Hamlin, the husband of famous Beverly Hills housewife Lisa Rinna.
Yeah, probably both. It's probably a little bit of both in there. That's what I'm going to say. Hamlin would have a movie theater, a shopping district, all dotted by little small lakes surrounding the development, with walking paths that are just perfect for a nighttime stroll around one of the numerous lakes. In fact, Horizons West was a large community comprised of small villages, which is a fancy way of saying this group of 2 to 4 neighborhoods over here. So this is what like sort of the new thing in development is. I mean, how new it is, but since I've been paying attention to it, it's like you have several little neighborhoods. That's a village. And then you have a village over here. And that way maybe you can charge HOA fees instead of saying this 4-block radius only has to pay this much. You know what I mean? It's like at least out here, we have what would maybe considered villages. I don't know, but you have a large parcel of land that's owned by a developer, and then they sell off chunks to other developers. But the developer who owns the main plot gets the best land, and then you can sort of like make other people price stuff differently, so it's not all just one area with one price, right? It's like you have tiers of anyway. Yeah, so reading about that, it's like these people who own the orange groves who apparently can't grow anything anymore. They've been meeting up for coffee for years, trying to figure out what to do with it. And finally they're like, well, we should develop it, but it was zoned weird, and so they couldn't really develop it. And so they had to do this whole thing, man. I don't pretend to understand or care. Over the years, developers have what the fuck? What am I saying? Over the years, developers have infringed the... Okay. Over the years, developers have infringed upon the large, untouched land that was marked for so-called smart growth, greatly reducing the walkability and the spirit of the initial project. Much like with EPCOT, there were apparently better uses for land than just trees and walking paths. So none of this has anything to do really with what's going on at Flamingo Crossings, other than to highlight the still relevant desires for a central community that can feature walkways, shopping, and housing. Disney is leaving the clogged sprawl of Horizons West behind and is taking its new venture a bit south, but still next to the parks. Plans are in place to have a massive shopping center boasting 200,000 square feet of rentable space, comprising of 40 to 50 businesses and over 1,500 parking spaces. Wow.
Yeah, I heard they're getting a Wendy's.
Oh, yeah, of course. They're getting a Wendy's, they're getting a Domino's, they're getting a UPS store. So really,
these are all the things you need.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I don't know. It just seems pretty uninspired. Of course, there will be hotels too. 7 3-star hotels with about 1,700 rooms in total, located on site at the town center. 2 are already open, actually, Spring Hill Suites and Town Place Suites, both owned by Marriott. It also looks to be the home for participants in the Disney College program eventually, with over 10,000 units there available by mid-2023. Now, Flamingo Crossings is about 12 minutes to Disney World, with about 6,400 hotel rooms, less than 7 minutes away. So they plan, and I've read like they're planning on 7 hotels, all the way up to like 29 hotels. They're just they have a lot of space that they're sort of planning for the future, in like 10, 15 years, maybe having more hotel rooms. But this might be a good opportunity for people who don't want to stay on site, but still want to stay near site, sort of doing those tier things. There will be also 5,200 Disney Vacation Club rooms available by 2023 as well. And I think maybe that's pushed back a little bit because of COVID, but the DVC is looking to check things out at Flamingo Crossings.
See, I don't know if I'm not a DVC member, but if I had it, I don't think I would want to go so I could stay at Flamingo Crossings. Like, I want to use it so I can stay at like Saratoga Springs Resort, like.
This is what I'm sort of don't understand about it. It's reading about this, it seems like a glorified strip mall. And that's why I was sort of like beefing on the Wendy's and the Domino's. Like, I don't, and there's going to be, homes in the region. There's going to be places for people to live and cast members to live. And it's like a sort of a modular community like that. So you need something at your core, but we got a Wendy's. I don't know, man. A UPS. Yeah. I mean, I guess you do need a UPS store, but I don't know. Maybe details are still super scant because it doesn't seem like a fully baked idea. And I know there's a division. There's a Flamingo Crossings East and a Flamingo Crossings West, and so maybe they'll be split up, in that way too. But it just sort of seems like here's a big giant strip mall. You can go, and there's a Target in there too. And so you're right. There's things that you need, but I don't know. Imagine staying at a hotel in a strip mall. It just doesn't really seem, I don't know, vacation-y.
Well, maybe only the things that we're hearing about are just the one, like those ones have committed to, but like an independent restaurant that might go in there.
There's a few of those too.
Like maybe they haven't kind of announced yet because they're just like, Joe's whatever Crab Shack. Is that a real place, Joe's Crab Shack?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I mean, a unique dining experience. Like, I don't know, something like Benihana. I
They
love a Benihana.
they do have a few of those in there too. So it's not all just Wendy's and Domino's and
Okay.
UPS Store. But yeah, I don't think I agree with you about the DVC points. I don't think I would use my points to stay at a strip mall. I think I
No.
would use my points. I mean, it's only 6 minutes away from the park entrance. Like, it's not bad, but I sort of I would want the Disney experience. That's what you pay
Yeah.
the money for. I don't know.
But also 6 minutes from park entrance there, you're still a long way. Like
Well,
that's just
it's true.
where
You're right.
Disney property actually starts.
That's where the sign is.
Right. Like
Yeah.
you got to drive and then like if you're going to Magic Kingdom, you've got at least another 10-minute drive, a 15-minute walk, and then a 7 to 8 minute ferry ride. Like you're still a ways out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't start making those fast passes just yet.
The hope is that this new build can maintain a viable planned community, but some things are already being compromised, of course. For example, the rules about how close to the freeway builders can push boundaries has been rethought, with some buildings being placed as close as 30 feet from State Route 429, more than twice as close as currently allowed. So with a new build like this, apparently there's a lot of developers, big developers involved. The state is rezoning some things here and letting people build as close to the freeways as humanly possible.
Okay.
But maybe to make up for being so close to the highway, some of these units will be more than 750 feet from the parking lots, which is more than 5 times farther away than what is currently allowed. So if you stay here, it sounds like you're going to do a lot of walking. And then get ready to sleep right next to the freeways. This is what I read. This is my take on it. Like, there's a lot of sprawl, and then you hear just the hum of the cars all the time.
Yeah, well, that's like that hotel we stayed at in Anaheim. It's right off 5.
Well, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. It's bad. I don't know, man. It's hard. Taryn and I stayed at one hotel in Burbank that was like literally the border between the freeway and our hotel was like the sound wall. But when you're 4 floors up, the sound wall doesn't do anything for you. Right. So it's just constant 9 o'clock, 9:30. It's surprising how long traffic lasts down there. Anyway, it seems like Flamingo Crossings will be a very viable option for travelers to stay during their Disney World vacation. Shops that are going in are Target, Wendy's, Domino's, Five Guys, I think, Firehouse Sub, which is very subpar, no pun intended, the UPS Store, and a brewery. We have no date as to when all this will be done, but things are moving along. So Flamingo Crossings is coming soon. But
well,
I've been reading about it. Yeah, I've been reading about it on and on and on. And finally I was like, fine, let me cave in. I'll figure out what's going on here.
That's how I have been. I don't know why that is. Usually I get my nose in and figure out what's happening. But for some reason, whenever it's Flamingo Crossings, it's like I'm like, nope.
Is. Well, right, because everything I read about it, everything I see about it, it just looks like a big strip mall, and I'm like uninterested in it. So I dug around a little bit about Horizons West and how that came to be, and there were elevated plans for that, but things sort of got chipped away till now it's just a giant sprawl. Yeah. It sounds like Flamingo Crossings is trying to retain some of that connectivity between its visitors and its residents. So maybe they'll be able to to finally pull something off. But the fact that it's sort of headlined by kind of affordable homes, if on that middle class plateau, but you can have lakeside right there and a lot of walking paths, and it's a lot of stuff. But they're also having a lot of problems, which I sort of see for Flamingo Crossings too, where the school buildings can't keep up with the amount of housing they're building out there in Horizons West. So they're backed up on schools. Their schools are double the amount of capacity. They have to bring in portables to come in. The infrastructure is not there yet. Traffic is a nightmare, apparently, because you have a lot of cast members that stay there, obviously, that live there, and just clogged. Highways are clogged, and it's very bad until they can sort of untangle stuff and figure it out. But it's supposed to be, from what I saw, it was a really nice area with a lot of cool little neighborhoods.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, since our last episode, we've seen some more changes coming to EPCOT as part of its $1 billion overhaul that's been in progress for over a year now. Just today, in fact, This is how hot and fresh this news is. Okay.
It's like a Firehouse sub.
Oh yeah.
Not
Just
hot and
today.
fresh. Sorry, go ahead.
Just today, EPCOT took down construction walls around the new entrance fountain in front of Spaceship Earth. The new fountain, with its gleaming prismatic pylons, replicates the original fountain found at the park until it was removed as part of the park's makeover for the Millennium Celebration that saw the construction of large stone blocks that served as EPCOT's Leave a Legacy Monument. Do you know about the Leave a Legacy Monument?
No, but it sounds like something you donate. Like when you're going into a Ross or something. You put a little legacy in the bin.
No, it was those big rocks, and you would get your picture taken, and then like they would laser etch your photograph onto the plaque that would then sit on this big tomb. Basically, they look like tombstones. You would memorialize your visit to EPCOT during the Millennium Celebration, and you were there. It was supposed to be there forever.
I don't like that.
It's like when you do the brick.
The brick is fine because it's not your face. I don't know. Just seeing this wall of faces staring at you, all sweaty and delirious from the Florida heat. I don't know.
Often described as tombstones, like I just did, the large blocks displayed the parkgoers. And it hasn't. So that's gone, and it hasn't yet been announced where the blocks will be relocated to. But apparently, they are finding a home for that somewhere.
Oh, sure, at the bottom of Bay Lake.
Bay Lake. But recently, so that's today's news, but recently parkgoers were treated to a view of the first of 5 new floating platforms or barges at EPCOT's World Showcase Lagoon. The first barge, which will form part of the new Harmonious Nighttime Spectacular, was floated into place in the center of the lagoon. I happen to have some audio of that upcoming show if you'd like to hear what Harmonious is going to sound like.
Of course I do. I hate your guts. So Jeremy sent this stupid video around our group text. It's 45 seconds of Adele Dazeem. And I'm like, I can't. It's just, why are you making me watch this? He's no, just wait till the end. Now you sound like Sam. This is a Sam thing to do. It's like, no, just wait till the end. I'm like, I made it 35 seconds and my eardrums collapsed. I can't do it. So anyway, that's the last like 4 seconds of the video. I mean, what is she, Courtney Love, for God's sakes? Let the storm rage. Because she can't hit the note because she needs compression and lift and she needs tools in the studio. She can't do it live. But I will give her credit for at least singing live and not just lip syncing.
You call that singing?
Yeah.
Well, I had to bring, because we've been talking so much about her lately, and of course, we named her Old Yeller on the last episode, and then after that, I remembered that she had that infamous New Year's Eve performance a couple years ago, and I was like, man. I gotta crowbar this in somewhere.
It's probably hammered.
Yeah, so I actually don't have music to Harmonious. We have to, but I'm sure that'll be in it. For God's sake, Disney's not going to make a nighttime spectacular without crowbarring that song in.
Oh my God.
Prior to that, Disney had recently announced that the new barges would not be temporary like their smaller Illuminations barge predecessors, which after the show were floated backstage each night and kept out of sight for most of the day so as not to spoil the views of the nations standing on the shores of the lagoon.
Right.
This new barge is huge and it ain't going anywhere.
Really? They just leave it floating out in the middle of the the lake or the pond or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's 4 other brothers and sisters that are about to join it when they're finished.
Why does Disney hate its guests?
They hate us.
They really do.
Hate us.
Like who ever thought? I think part of the problem is you have people in charge that don't understand sort of those, I don't call them nuances, but like maybe the second tier reasons why people go to World Showcase, right? Number 1 is to go walk around and do all the things. But number 2 is to just sit and look out and sort of enjoy the experience. but I think maybe the Imagineers or the people in charge are only focused on the show building and what it looks like out front, not all of the other aesthetics that sort of bring it together. I mean, if they did, they would plant 100 more trees in friggin' Tomorrowland.
Right. Well, I don't get this. How do you not know that people enjoy the view? You have these beautiful buildings with they brought in people from the countries. The Morocco Pavilion was basically built by the King of Morocco. He sent his personal architects there to build it. This is architecture from these countries that you've got the forest perspective, making it look great. What was it all for?
Yeah.
So I could look at this oil rig?
That's right.
I'm so angry.
You should be, to be honest with you. That is really annoying. And at first, when you brought this up, like I don't know, a couple weeks ago or whatever, I was like, "Oh, relax, Jeremy. Like I have this beautiful panoramic shot, and it's all ruined." And I'm like, "Come on, just chill out a little bit. Just calm down. It can't be that bad." And then you sort of went off on social media, fixing everything, like adding the barges and the big blue building in the background. I'm like, oh yeah, that's ugly. Okay, I get it now. I understand. Yeah. So now I'm mad for you.
They don't care.
Have you started a petition on change.org yet?
No.
All right, we should do that.
I'm not that energized. I just like to kvetch.
Yeah.
Many guests so I was there that day too. Like the first day that they brought it out, and I walked in and I was like, what is that? And I was like, well, I guess they're just figuring out where it's going to go. But Disney has said that the barges will stay in the center. They recently announced this. This was a new one, that the barges will stay there all day, and they will serve as a daytime fountain in the center. So that's the solution.
Okay.
They realize that they have these big oil rigs out there, so they're like, well, let's just have water flowing off. Yeah. But guess what?
Let's make it spurt water.
Right. Making it spurt water doesn't fix the fact that I can't see through it. Like, I still can't see Italy on the other side, you dopes.
If you had long hair, that's a perfect hair toss moment.
It was a hair toss moment. I got to go back to my skater hair from when I was a sophomore. Many guests used to the relatively smaller barges of Illuminations were caught off guard at the sheer size of these new barges, which, owing to their significant width and height, serve to block views across the waters of the lagoon. The giant barges, which contain huge double-sided screens, pyrotechnic launchers, spotlights, and fountains, are also not particularly attractive additions to the finely crafted global architecture of the 11 World Showcase countries, now obscured by the dark floating monoliths. The Disney Parks blog teased the addition of the first barge in a post on its Instagram page, but was met with overwhelmingly negative feedback. I happened to be, as I say, at EPCOT that day. It looks bad. To be sure, I did a quick little back of the envelope math after looking over the numerous comments. Of the first 25 comments listed on the Disney Parks blog post, just 3 were either positive or neutral, leaving the other 22 of those first 25 resoundingly negative, with lots of likes from like-minded Disney fans. And the comments were particularly brutal.
This is on the Facebook page?
This is on their Instagram post.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, if you comment on the blog, they delete it. They delete negative comments on the actual blog. Ask me how I know.
Hey, I'm going to check up on my work. Where is it?
Yeah, I want to see if anyone responded.
Well,
anyway,
the Disney couple said, put that thing back where it came from. Kyle T. Wonderland Explorer said, this is just a horrible design decision. What about a giant black floating wedge in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon? Sounded like a wise choice. Hopefully the Disney team reviews and moves on all the negative feedback and stash it. Joey HKY Mazzulo, yet another eyesore for a show that should be in the Magic Kingdom. That one I particularly like. A Daily Dose of Zinc said, what? So now you cannot see across the lagoon to the other side of the park? What genius thought of this stupid idea? Ugh, awful, a giant eyesore. And then finally, Travel to WDW said, why not place a Disney cruise ship in there?
That's pretty funny.
But it wasn't just Disney fans voicing their views on the new EPCOT controversy, Jason. Even rival theme park Universal Studios Florida weighed in with its own tweet.
They must love these moments. Their social media person just thanking any god they can think of for moments like this.
Like, let's see what you come up with over there, Disney. We're tweeting. A picture of their own city walk with its body of water was photoshopped with a large black inflatable screen bearing the Universal logo floating in the middle of it with the comment, "We've tried it. 2 out of 10 for city walk aesthetics." I loved it. I love that tweet so much. The negative feelings of this new edition must be palpable. If even rival theme parks are picking up on it and making fun of Disney in their social media, like, obviously this is not just me blowing this out of proportion. Like, there's something happening out there. People are not happy.
There's something happening. Yeah. But the sad thing is Disney won't really know about, well, maybe now it's a little bit different because they fired all their social media teams at Disneyland, at least. But like in Disney World, I don't know how much it's different. But in general, the social media is like, it comes in and the program they use flags it for, whoever to look at the comment if they want. So if the manager goes, "Hey, give me all the comments on this ride or this thing or whatever," then they can, they've cataloged them so they can see them. But for the most part, those comments don't get passed up the chain.
Right.
So they might just be barking into the wind there. But
I think that is a rivalry, Universal and Disney. I think they're keeping an eye on each other for sure. And if Universal is making fun of Disney in its tweets, someone knows about it. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah, sure.
I loved it. I loved that tweet so much. I liked it. I retweeted it. I replied. I did everything I could to show my approval of Universal making fun of Disney. But after that, I reflected a bit more and I got sad because I looked back and now I see what EPCOT has become. That is now the butt of jokes. This is what Disney just doesn't get. EPCOT Center was different. This is not a theme park. It was inspired. It was aspirational. The friendship boats that crisscross the lagoon are called that, not just because the word friendship is a nice sounding name. They link the countries together in friendship. EPCOT taught us about what we can be together. The countries stand side by side in cooperation and friendship. These things aren't an accident. Future World taught us about the world and how to take better care of it and preserve it, how to take better care of ourselves. It showed us the boundless possibilities that innovations in communication, transportation could bring us and where we could go. It challenged current day thinking in engineering, travel, even architecture. It showed us not just technologies off in the distant 21st century, but new innovations just a short, tantalizing distance from our fingertips. Some of the first touchscreen displays were demonstrated here, photovoltaic cells, remote surgery, video communication. All of this was part of EPCOT's promise. At EPCOT, we looked up to the heavens, space travel, even to the gleaming geodesic sphere made of self-cleaning Alucobond panels that shined in the sun and glowed in the evening sky. No one could leave EPCOT feeling uninspired or without hope for the future. Even its long history is deserving of respect. EPCOT was the venue where we ushered in and celebrated a new millennium. Presidential inaugurations have happened here. And now that hopeful vision, that aspiration, that inspiration has finally been reduced to the butt of jokes and internet memes. Thanks, Disney. Great job. Your sheer mediocrity that governs this company has finally succeeded in destroying the dream. So I hope you're happy. And not just the company's leadership, but those who have executed this disaster, these so-called Imagineers. What a title. These people aren't deserving of the title Imagineer. That word is the biggest misnomer in today's lexicon. They're not imaginative and they're not engineering. If they were, they would have figured out how to have a big nighttime show without having to dock huge floating piles of steel in the middle of a picturesque lagoon. Quote, guys, we need a really big new show. It can't destroy the lagoon. Figure it out. They didn't figure it out. They failed. They suck. They're losers.
Wow, Jeremy.
So that's what's happening over at EPCOT.
So you like it. You're a big fan. I mean, I wonder why they're just not towing it around. I wonder what the mechanics of it is.
No one put any thought into this.
Well,
they were just like, make it bigger. It's going to be the biggest one ever, the biggest.
I feel like that can't be true. I feel like it can't be true. So someone thought about it, and I think at some point someone decided against making it portable for whatever reasons, for reasons unknown. That's the person I think that is to be hung. I think is really where we're at right now.
We're literally hanging people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like if you were a true engineer, the whole thing of engineering is you design solutions to problems. The problem is this looks like crap and you need a show. Yeah. So design an innovative solution. This is literally a barge.
And the barge just shoots water and lights. I mean, that's World of Color. Right. But also that breaks down all the time too. So that's not necessarily perfect.
I know. Well, Tokyo Disney Sea does Fantasmic, all with barges. Mm-hmm. And they've figured it out. But, Tokyo Disney Sea does its own thing. It's, not really operated by Disney. Yeah. So if you want to go see a good Disney park, you got to go one that isn't owned by Disney. What do you think of that?
That's true.
Well, anyway, barking into the wind, as you say.
You definitely are, man. You're screaming into the void, and that's, that's all right. That's what we're here for. What else we're here for, Jeremy, is the 21st Amendment. It's ready for the fall season with their latest release, Hell or High Mango. Hell or High Mango is made with real fruit and is sweet, slightly tart with tropical floral flavors and aromas. It's a perfect beer to enjoy during this fall time of year as the colors in the season change. Behind all that great mango flavor and aroma is a wonderful wheat beer with its biscuity, light bready notes, and at a mere 4.9% ABV is even more enjoyable. Hell or High Mango is available across the country where 21st Amendment beer is sold. So go out and enjoy a Hell or High Mango today and a Hell or High Pomegranate, because that's the new one.
Yeah.
It's one of the new Johns. Well, I want to start off with this quote here, Jeremy. It's from Walt Disney. Maybe you've heard of him. I don't know. Mm-mm. He says, it's kind of fun to do the impossible.
You want to talk about, what's impossible? Making a nighttime show that doesn't block Italy.
Well, apparently what also is impossible is to leave rides alone. Disney loves messing with stuff. So the Walt Disney Company released footage this week of the latest Fantasyland tragedy, Snow White's Scary Adventures. Even though Disneyland is closed to the public, that hasn't stopped the wild hammers from swinging in the parks, as the Disney Company is taking this downtime to catch up on some general maintenance issues, as well as some projects that have been planned since before the shutdown. Earlier this week, the Disney Park blog released footage of one of these pre-COVID projects, an overhaul of Snow White's Scary Adventures. The ride is one of two classic dark rides in Fantasyland that have virtually no wait times. The other one is Pinocchio's, Wooden Boy trilogy. I don't know what it's called. Pinocchio, right? You can pretty much walk on Snow White at any time of the day, which seems sad for an original concept ride like this, but after all, it's not that great of a ride. It's a little choppy in the story, and the ride itself is bumpy as hell. Despite this, the major complaint of the ride was that it was, hold on, let me check my notes, too scary.
That even today, it's too scary?
That was the main thing behind, it's too scary of a ride. For kids, that's what everyone thought. That's why it's getting a revamp. Okay. Apparently, Disney felt the same because not only did they make several massive changes to the ride, but they deleted the Snow White Scary Adventures name and instead deemed it Snow White's Enchanted Wish.
Oh, God.
So this goes back to our last main show where it's like everything is believe, magic, and wishes and dreams. And just you put that in some AI and it'll spit out a nighttime spectacular name for you. Like, that's all it is. Snow White's Enchanted Wish literally means nothing. It makes no sense. But, I go on. Before we get to these new changes, though, Jeremy, let's remember that this is not the first time poor Snow White has seen the business end of an Imagineer's hammer. We're just railing on Imagineers now. When the park opened, this ride was called Snow White and Her Adventures, which was pretty aptly named, honestly. You would board one of the mine cars and you get whisked away into the dwarves' gem vault, where you'd see them hard at work. Dopey tells you to beware of the witch, and you are whisked away yet again to the forest, somehow, heading toward the dwarf's cottage. Suddenly, you break right and are rambling towards the witch's castle. A gate crashes down and traps you in her castle dungeon, along with skeletons moving and generally being scary. But eventually you escape. And while in the forest, trying to get back to the dwarves, the witch appears on a cliffside, trying to bring a boulder down upon you. Which, if she was any kind of witch, she would just go, let's just move the boulder. I mean, You know what I mean? Anyway.
Right.
Of course, just like in the movie, she falls, the lights go out, and you hear her scream and die, essentially. Snow White wasn't really in the ride itself because the guests were riding through as Snow White. Get it?
Right.
Well, apparently no one else did either. And in 1981, Mrs. White's ride was closed for 2 years while Disney did its thing, trying to breathe new life into it. Well, actually, it was torn down completely to the studs and rebuilt because as part of the Fantasyland update, it just made sense, apparently. So 1983 comes around and ushers in a new Fantasyland, as well as the second time the drawbridge on the castle was lowered. And in the video for this version, Sleeping Beauty's castle was called the Fantasyland Castle. Just so you know, as the bridge is coming down, the town crier is like, lower the bridge of the Fantasyland Castle. And then he somehow climbs up a rope of the side of the... It's just very bizarre. Like,
this is in 1981?
83.
They were calling it a different name.
That's what this guy called it. Yeah.
Weird.
I know, right? The renamed Snow White's Scary Adventures saw the arrival of the Queen lurking above the ride queue entrance, opening and closing the curtains like some insane person checking on the neighborhood every 2 minutes.
It's like Gladys Kravitz from Bewitched.
What is going on? Is that car still out there? Yeah, that's what I do, man. Every time I pass a window, I go, okay, what cars are here? What's going on? All right.
Yeah, you gotta check things out.
The brass apple appeared at the front of the queue as well, which was a welcomed addition. Disney went all out on this revamp, giving the actual queue, the ride cars, and the ride story itself the Imagineer touch. The story made a little more sense, but not much. And at the end of the sequence, or the end of the day, the end sequence was pretty much the same. The witch dies, the ride ends abruptly, and everyone sort of is like left laughing as they emerge to the offload area. Like, what the hell did I just see? But at least what they did is they put Snow White in the very beginning to like, oh, this is Snow White, or whatever.
Isn't she laying there to sleep at the end?
No, that's your version, I think.
Oh,
yeah. Well, not yet. She will be in this new version. Well, all of this has changed, Jeremy. Again, despite the word scary literally being in the name of the ride, the Walt Disney Company has deemed this ride as too scary even still. The promo video Disney released has Thorn in My Side Kim Irvine getting the original name of the ride incorrect. It's Snow White and Her Adventures, Kim. Okay? Not Snow White's Adventures. That's what she calls it. She goes, well, she has her mask on, which is fine, but I'm still going to make fun of her. Well, originally when this ride was called Snow White's Adventures? No, it wasn't! Learn your history. Your mom would be ashamed.
You dip.
Dip. Some other Imagineer guy mentions that the star of the show is Snow White. So, quote, it's really, really important that we introduce her early on, despite the fact that she was already in the first scene of this ride since 1983. But that's neither here nor there. Apparently, Imagineers don't know anything. The new Snow figure spins around with Dopey and the gang as they're dancing, rather than standing on a staircase like she's off the bed. So that's cool. I mean, that looks neat, I guess. They updated the gem effects in the Dwarves Mine as you go through it, and now it looks a lot like the gems in the Seven Dwarves Mine Train over in Walt Disney World. They're very shiny, and it's like, it looks cool.
Great.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Very bright and colorful. Then it's back to the Pastel Witch Kim Irvine telling us, this is the video now, I call it the Pastel Witch, which is just funny to me, telling us how they took the opportunity to repaint the outside of the ride in, quote, warmer pinks and gold colors to, quote, make it feel happier. Feel happier! I can't even deal with this woman! Anyway, there's not much else besides vague details of new music, new LED effects, and even the happy ending Snow White deserves, which you do get a short view of, and it involves Snow White being kissed to life by Prince Charming, or whatever his name is. Like, cool, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't have much of an issue with him tying up the end there, but it just, I don't know. All the other stuff leading up to it bothers me a whole lot. But what strikes me about this change is that it really removes much of what makes Snow White one of the better dark rides in Fantasyland, the darkness. It's supposed to be different than all the other rides. Sure, in Mr. Toad's, you go to hell, whatever. But in Snow White, you have danger, you have a shoddy story, and a ride that stays true to its roots. Even after the teardown and rebuild in the 80s, there was still a feeling of age, for lack of a better word, vintage props and figures. If you hadn't known that the ride was only 40 years old, you would just assume it was still exactly the same way it was when Disneyland opened in 1955. What's fun about it was what was flawed about it. Putting some pastel paint over the witch's castle does not a dark ride make. Changing the name to Enchanted Wish, what a convoluted, ethereal thing to call a ride that once had the word scary in its name. I'm all for polishing up the effects in a ride, especially if it's done well, but to change the heart of the thing doesn't feel good. And what else have they done that we haven't seen? Is the Queen still opening the curtains to glare down at us, or is that too scary also? You can see in the video that there's no longer that golden apple at the entrance, so who knows what other changes are in store for us once Disneyland opens. It really bothered me. We made it a friendlier, warmer castle. It's a witch! What are you talking about?
She lives in a scary place.
Yeah, it's like painting the friggin' Haunted Mansion pink. Well, it's just friendlier. Some things are scary, Kimberly. It's fine.
You know what I hope they still have? I like the trick where she turns around. Like you see a different reflection, Yeah. And then she turns around and it's like, I love that. But I bet that was too scary for the likes of Kim Irvine.
Yeah, I just the whole thing just bothers me to no end. And like I said, I'm all for putting like a LED projection effect of like the rain, when the doors are on the cliffside or whatever towards the end. That's cool. That's fine. You're plussing up the thing, but
plussing it up.
To just gut it and then make it warmer and happier. And then she even says like to match the tones of the castle, of like the Sleeping Beauty castle, which looks like dog poo poo anyways to me. I mean, some of these things, they're first of all, they're made of stone. They're supposed to be gray and massive and foreboding. That's what they are. Show me a castle in the medieval times that just decided to paint the stones pink or blue or gold or whatever.
It's a fortress.
It's a fortress. Thank you. It should be. It should just be the way it is. I don't know, man. That kind of stuff bothers me to no end. And Kim Irvine is just the worst. She's the worst. I hope she comes on the show one day.
I feel like all she does is run around with a bucket of pink paint. Like, I swear that's all we ever get from her.
It's softer tones. We made this softer. It's a softer thing. Kim, it's a ride about a witch crushing you with a boulder. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Softer.
Yeah, what are you doing, Kim Irvine?
You eat an apple and you get poisoned. You can take that out too. And then at what point, when did these things sort of stop? Like Alice rode that ride when she was 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, before, because COVID basically happened like her birthday. So 1.5. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She's too young to maybe figure out what's going on. But like, I don't know. I've never heard any kid cry on that ride. I've never seen any kid come off that ride screaming or crying. Right. I don't know how it could really affect anybody. And even if it did, who cares? What about these kids that are 8 or 9 who want rides like that, but can't go to the Haunted Mansion or whatever? I get the Haunted Mansion's very dark for a prolonged period of time. Snow White is not that. It can be a touch scary for little Timmy and Becky. That's what therapy is for. It's nobody's long-term traumatized from the ending of Snow White going, what? I thought we were gonna, I don't understand. Makes no sense.
Well, yeah, we can't just go through life looking at clouds all the time. Like, I feel, and also maybe if that ride is too scary, wait a couple years before your kid goes on it and go on Peter Pan, go do something else. Like, we don't have to dumb every ride down to be the same saccharine pink mess so that they're all just going to be the same thing.
Yeah, it's really annoying, man. And so looking back into the history of that ride and how it was received on opening, like people thought it was too scary because it's Snow White and her adventures. There's nothing about like what's going to happen. But also, if you've seen the movie, it's kind of a dark movie. So you should expect some of that. So then on the ticket, because I remember this is back when you had to have tickets to board rides, they put in parentheses scary. And they even put a sign up in the queue that says beware of the witch. And that was fine. I mean, they took the sign down, obviously, but that was fine until 1981. So for 30 years, less than, that was okay. The biggest complaint I've ever heard about that story is that Snow White's not it and it's confusing at the end. Not that it was scary. I don't know. Whatever. It's just, it makes no sense. Of all the things to pour your money into in that park, Snow White? Like, that's what we're doing?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
You might have bigger fish to fry than that.
Yeah,
I hate bad solutions to non-existent problems.
I mean, I sort of hope that this alleviates the pressure for Peter Pan, because I would like to go on Peter Pan, but I refuse to wait 45 minutes for that ride because it's not worth 45-minute wait. But, you know, I don't know, man. I mean, even Peter Pan had issues in the beginning where there was no Pan, and so you didn't really know who... I don't know. What I really appreciate in movies and stories, which this is a part of, is that, and I'll shut up after this, it things that make the audience sort of think a little bit. You don't have to have it laid out for you all the time. It's okay. It's okay if you're riding the ride as Snow White. If that confuses you, then someone tells you and you go, "Oh, I get it," and that's it. Right. It's not a big thing that you need to spend millions of dollars on and dust Kim Irvine out to come out to talk about pinks and pastel blues.
No, there's no such thing as subtlety.
No.
Everything is beating you over the head now.
Right. I don't like it.
I'll tell you this, Peter Pan the other week and a half ago was a walk-on. And we went on it right away because I was like, this is never going to happen again.
Right. Do you have the same Peter Pan we have?
Yeah. I think it's pretty much the same.
Okay. Well,
you're like in the thing
out here. You would think that the real Peter Pan was in the ride. The way that people clamor for this thing. I rode it once. It's like, it's cool, I guess.
Yeah. No, ours gets a 75-minute wait consistently. I don't know why. There's some weird thing about it. I don't quite get it.
And Peter Pan is sort of annoying. I mean, that Tinkerbell, forget about it. But Peter Pan himself is like, I don't know, man. I'd rather watch Alice in Wonderland on loud than talk to Peter Pan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Yeah. You're not missing much.
Well, speaking of talking to annoying people.
Yeah.
No, this has nothing to do with that. A fake ministry was set up and bought a mansion at Disney World after obtaining munds.
Not months.
Not money or funds, but munds.
Okay.
Obtaining millions in PPP loans or funds. You know what PPP is?
I forget the acronym, but it's like free money.
It's the Paycheck Protection Program.
There you go.
Federal investigators have seized millions of dollars from a fake ministry in Orlando. Some of that money was set aside to buy a mansion near Disney World in their Golden Oak community.
Ooh.
Do you know what Golden Oak is?
No.
It's just another one of their...
Those planned communities. Probably has a golf course and high HOA fees.
You know, I don't know if it has high HOA fees. They're all... I think the cheapest home there is $750. And even right now, I went to the website today. I think the cheapest one that was available was maybe 1.5 million, and then up to almost 5 million I saw.
Wow.
But they're on property. Like, they're literally behind the Magic Kingdom in this area called Golden Oak. There's a Four Seasons there, but it's this whole crazy thing. The Secret Service, which I didn't know that they did other things besides protecting the president.
Yeah, I didn't really know. I mean, I didn't really know. I guess I knew that, but it's sort of off-putting to hear. It's like, what do you mean, the Secret Service? But yeah, okay.
The Secret Service is currently working hundreds of small business association loan fraud cases across the country and has so far seized over $345 million, with more than $50 million of that coming from Florida. Included in that figure are millions seized from Aslan International Ministry.
Aslan.
Which, isn't that the name of the lion in the Narnia? Aslan?
I don't know.
I think that is.
I don't know.
It lists an Orlando address on North Blossom Trail, but when you get there, there's nothing there. According to the Florida Division of Corporations, the foreign not-for-profit corporation was set up in 2018 and is still active. It received Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, back in April to help keep its alleged 486 people employed.
Wow.
At this non-existent building. Now a complaint is alleging it was a scam and a fake religious organization created to commit the fraud. The people behind Aslan are also registered operators of something called the Church of Florida, with a mailing address at Turkey Lake Road, at the Turkey Lake Road post office. So not even really a building; they just have a mailbox.
Nice.
You always know you're in trouble when your corporation's headquarters is a PO box. According to the complaint, Dr. Evan Edwards, his son Joshua, his daughter Joy, and his wife Mary Jane used numerous bank accounts held in different names to launder the PPP money. Agents seized $8.6 million from their bank accounts, with $868,000 of that intended as a down payment on a $3.5 million mansion at Golden Oak. Quote, this is from the complaint. The perpetrators of the fraud attempted to conceal the source, nature, and location of the bank fraud proceeds by moving the proceeds through numerous bank accounts held in different names. The complaint says that on September 17th, Edwards' vehicle was stopped by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement on I-75, and all four of these people, who are listed as the principals of the company, were inside. The vehicle contained what appeared to be multiple laptops and tablets, as well as a document shredder, which were all seized. The Aslan Ministries website also has some generic religious information on it, but it's all plagiarized from other websites. There's nothing like genuine from it.
Yeah.
The website has now since been deactivated. The case is the latest in a string of law enforcement cracking down on massive fraud in the PPP program, which has led to more than 80 arrests connected to at least $240 million in fraud. The Secret Service alone has some 700 pending PPP-related investigations. This investigation is still pending, and the alleged are not arrested. There have not been any arrests made yet, as it's still pending.
Wow.
So they're on the loose, these four people, potentially making more fake churches in Florida.
I wonder which mansion it was, because I was looking at that website just now, and yeah, there's nothing under 2.6, 2.5 available. And even those are like built. And then some of they're not built yet. And then some of the ones that are available for moving, they're like $6 million. Like, these are giant homes in Florida.
I know, $6 million in Florida should be getting a lot.
Oh, and it looks like it is, man. That is for sure. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
So that's what's happening. Fake churches getting fraudulent money and then buying up Golden Oak. Jeez.
Oh, weird.
So that's where your tax dollars are, Jason. Call Aslan Ministry.
Definitely will. Go, hey, guys.
Yeah.
I have a proposition for you.
Yeah, jeez.
Well, all right, Jeremy. I think it's been another wonderful time talking with you.
Always an absolute pleasure. It's been a year. I can't believe we're wrapping it up.
I know, man. Next time we talk, it'll be in 2021. Hopefully, everything will be a little bit brighter for us, for everybody.
I could use a little bit brighter.
Yeah, me too, man. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening live. I really appreciate it. I think, are we doing anything else? Is there another show? I'm trying to think if there's any other EarzUp. I think there's another show on the 28th, or are we done until the 7th of January? I think we're done.
I think we said that you're done until the 7th, which is going to be the big year in review.
That's right. I got a lot of work to do on that. I've literally not started it.
I know. We don't know what the categories are. I want to sit down and start writing.
All right. Well, we should figure that out, because you're the only one who's like interested in helping me do it. So, because I want to do like some new categories and, like play some audio and like do a thing, like do an actual thing about it.
We should definitely do some audio.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate it. And until next time, we will see you later, and take care of each other and take care of yourself, because you're the only one who has to spend all day in your head. You know what I mean? whatever. Who cares? We're done, Jeremy.
All right. Well, I think it was a good one.
Yeah, it was great as usual. Thanks everybody. Oh yeah, if you're listening live, Supreme Resort, maybe for the game night link, Dan, just go on fucking Twitch. Are you not going to go on Twitch? Whatever. I don't know. Don't do it. I don't care. Do whatever you want.